everybody, it's Robert, and I'm here with my sidekick, Paul Martinez.
Hey, everybody.
So we're at 5th Ranger Training Battalion. If you've been watching a couple of the previous episodes, you'll probably see a theme. We're sitting here in the Ranger Instructor Training Room, right? Is that correct,
sir.
Thomas? Yeah. So this is where they get all their instruction and learn how to be a Ranger instructor. And so it all starts right here. Appreciate these guys allowing us to be here to talk with each of you. And so, of course, welcome to the Mentors4mil podcast, Thomas. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh, thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Yeah, God, don't call me sir. It makes me feel really old, man. I already looked the part, so it helps. So, any rate, where's home, Thomas? I mean...
Well, 19 years in the Army, I got to think back to when I joined. I'm actually just down the road here to the south. I grew up in Stone Mountain, McDonough.
No way.
Yeah, went through the Atlanta MEPS.
You're a Georgia boy then, through and through here then.
Yes. Raised by a northerner, so.
Oh, okay.
Mild accent.
Yeah, because you don't have the true, like, deep, born, raised.
That's correct.
Yeah. Didn't pick it up even with all your travel back.
No. I spent 10 years in Italy, so if anything, I lost more of an accent there.
Yeah. Oh.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You didn't pick up a
little bit, yes. Picked up an Italian wife.
Oh, did you?
Had to enunciate my words better.
Excellent. Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
I'm married to an Italian as well. So,
Nice.
yeah, it is nice. So the humble beginnings that was anybody in the military, you know, being around in Georgia, we're so close to so many different installations and stuff. So retired military or active,
No.
former? No.
Actually, no. I had dropped out of school. 2001, I was working full time, and I saw Black Hawk Down, and I knew right there, like, I wanted to be an airborne ranger. Couldn't get the option 40 contract when I joined because of the GED, but I was 17, my mom signed, and I shipped off to basic.
Okay.
11 X-ray infantry recruit, and was spin the roulette wheel.
Nice.
When you got there, what was the MOS that they ended up picking out for you? See, because was it okay? Yep. Because Paul got I don't know, was it the raw end of the deal, or you'd probably not say
it's
that?
Still, 11 Charlie's still infantry.
Yeah,
It's
Mike is the one
worst part of the infantry.
Chuck.
Well, when they had the mechanized, Mike was the one that nobody wanted. It's like,
yeah.
you're going, Mike. Well, no, that's not what I wanted. But yeah,
Yeah.
for those guys and everything. So, did you pick up airborne in the contract, or is it something you got when you were?
When I went to my first unit, a couple months after being there, I actually got airborne school.
Really?
So,
Where was that at?
Fort Benning.
No, really.
Where'd you go?
Funny story. Out of the 12 of us who went to Benning, I'm thinking, Rock of the Marne. I mean, those guys just tore it up in Iraq.
Yeah.
And half of us went to 3rd ID, and the other half went to Main Post Benning. So my first little chunk in the Army, I was just an ops kid. Wow. So I got airborne school from that.
So you were working for
The AG?
PLDC. We're going way back. It's probably PNOC in your day.
Yeah. Well, they had POC and PNOC back in my day. Yeah, and then they combined it and made it PODC.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you look back and the instructors that were there were trying to help me out. And you used to be able to see your email all the way to the end of time or the beginning of time. And I sent an email to my branch manager. And it's like, it says surplus soldier, but I'm not supply. Please help me get out of here. She sent me across post to 129 infantry.
Oh, 29th Infantry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Still
about
not
29 because you were stationed there as well. For those who don't know about 29th Infantry, and don't anybody attack me for making the statement of those who served in the 29th, but the 29th was at least had a reputation at that time frame of people that they were in the tail end of their career.
Exactly.
They didn't want to go to 3rd ID or at that time 197th Infantry Brigade, whichever it was in this case. And yeah,
129 was a place where you could take a knee after 1 or 2 Iraq rotations, but unfortunately they needed privates too, and I was stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how long did you end up staying in that unit?
Just about 3 years.
Well, the benefit was, like you said, you have the opportunity because you're at Benning to go to Airborne School, Pathfinder. I mean, you got all those schools, including Ranger School, all those school opportunities, and they have a lot more slots that are, open to the Benning personnel. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So what did you end up going through while there?
I got my EIB, got airborne. I I think in my first, it wasn't even an attempt. I had a ATAR slot for Ranger School in 05, and I ended up not even going. It's like the time came and passed, and I didn't even realize it. But I re-enlisted. What's that?
Really?
Yeah.
Because like nobody told you.
Yeah. I re-enlisted for the 173rd.
Okay.
And in 06, I made it there after some rough times in the 129.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun as a young man. Got slapped a little bit, so I showed up to the 173rd with a EIB airborne wings and nothing, no rank.
I feel like my grandfather told me this. You know, he got promoted 3 times and demoted 3 times in the Navy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I forget who said it. It's an old saying, but you're not a real Marine or you're not a real soldier if you don't have some disciplinary action.
They used to say that about sergeants major, but it's different nowadays.
Yeah, it's a lot different nowadays.
Yeah, no, you're right. And my father actually used to talk about zipper stripes, you know, that sometimes they wouldn't even sew them on. They would just put them on with the zipper because they knew they were going to take them off. But yeah, that was kind of, it was almost a rite of passage, right? Back in the, you know, Korea, Vietnam, World War II, even back in that period, you know, a lot of those guys, that's what they talked about. You know, they went down to the club, you know, got into a brawl, everything else, got busted from E6, worked their way back up, did it again in some other setting, and
I took the long route.
So you get to 173rd Vincenza, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so high-speed unit, deep history.
Oh, yeah. At that time, it was them and 187 out of Campbell, most deployed brigade, infantry brigade in the Army. So not long after I got there, we went to Afghanistan. But I loved it. I loved it. I was finally in the infantry, what I had joined to be, and didn't last too long my first deployment. Got a Moscow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, 2007. An ambush. We were in vehicles still. The old Frag 5 Humvee, if you remember.
Okay. Yeah.
The whole thing's heavily armored except for the roof. I mean, we were fighting some tough dudes up in northern Nuristan. You got Kunar province, it's northeast. Then even north of that, you got Nuristan. And in 2007, we were the only Americans, like conventional Americans at least, that were up there. And they spanked us pretty good. We had went and scouted it out 3 days before. And so when we came back 3 days later, they had set up a perfect ambush. I mean, they would get their go in Mount Phaser Ranger School. But, I was in the lead truck, so they just pummeled us, stopped the whole convoy. The 4th truck was also in the kill zone. So trucks 2 and 3 were not in the kill zone, but they couldn't go anywhere. Everybody in my truck, it was like rockets hit and sucked the air out immediately. So we were stuck. The gunner's down, everybody's down. We had to run back 100 meters or so to the second truck. And they always say, plan your CCP.
Yeah.
In real life, the CCP is where the wounded guys stop running.
Yeah.
But what I'd say about the Frag 5 Humvee and the roof is the roof was Swiss cheese. People in the Humvee got hit in the face and the knees, everywhere. So it was great from the side, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear the machine gun rounds tinging off my door.
How did you got that rocket right in? You were in.
Oh, yeah.
You were in some pretty hilly terrain, I'm guessing.
Indeed.
Nuristan is pretty hilly.
Yes.
It's the bottom of the Himalayas, isn't it?
It is.
Unless my geometry's wrong.
It's the foothills of the Himalayas, the Hindu Kush. Yep. Where they hit us, you could find it on Google Maps right now. It's a single lane road. Mm-hmm. So back in 2007, they weren't too keen on blowing up their only road.
Right.
So we didn't have to worry too much about IEDs. But the road's going north, barely 2 lanes. It's enough. If you ran into somebody, they'd have to pull over for you to get by.
Yeah.
On your left side, you got almost sheer cliff, and that's where they were. On the right side, you got the Kunar River, just beautiful white water, nowhere to go. Yeah. So perfect ambush. But,
oh my God, man! So how did you get out of that situation?
Oh, I ran. They sunk that first rocket right in the back of the Humvee.
Okay.
And if you remember back in those days, they had that steel sliding door that didn't do anything. No. all that
Tin
shrapnel
can, right?
came forward, missed me. I mean, you could see my neck; it's all peppered up, my arms. But the big chunks missed me and hit my driver and my gunner.
Okay.
But I was completely out of it. Bad concussion. Apparently, our TC Sergeant Bennett, he told everybody to get out, dismount right, and I didn't realize it. So I saw my buddy leave, and I climbed over the seat and got out. I saw my buddies running, and one without a foot.
Holy shit.
I remembered I had crawled over a rifle, so I thought my buddy Finley was still in there, and I yelled back, Finley, and then I realized I was the kill zone.
Yeah.
The whole ambush was now shooting at me, and I got the heck out of there.
Oh,
Saw gunner,
shit.
21 years old. I must have ran like a 4 flat. I was moving, and I ran to the CCP where everybody stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought there's a lot of rumors back in those days. A lot of rumors. And one of the rumors I had heard growing up in the Army was if you don't hear the blast, it means you're dead. Oh. So I didn't hear the blast at all. And I kept hearing, funny, because like the last thing my ear heard was the blast. So I kept hearing it throughout the day. Strangely enough, the eardrum was gone. But so I thought, I'm done. I was praying for God to let me in, not to save me, because I was checked out and I was just helping my buddies. But aircraft came in finally. It was a while. We were up there. You saw the gunships escorting them, and they couldn't get to us because we were right there on that road in a valley. So the aircraft landed like 2K away from us. There was a spot in the road that leveled out a little bit. They came in on one wheel, touchdown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the guy jumped out. We met Casvac over to them.
Yeah.
Funny story, that was, 15 years ago? 07 to 22?
Yeah.
June 2nd. I remember Mike, I'll have to remember his name. I don't want to waste too much time trying to remember his name, but I remember his name, the flight medic. And I looked him up on Global.
Nice.
I found his name, SOCOM.mil, and I sent him an email. I was like, hey, you remember me? He's straight up. I didn't even give him any information.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, that's when we landed on one wheel, came in, got you. They got in trouble because they filled up a 60. They filled up a 60 with 7 dudes.
Holy smokes.
Other medevacs came in to help, and there was nobody left.
Because they got in trouble.
They got in trouble for taking too many, so they say.
Yeah. If you fit 7 dudes on a 60, no problem.
Yeah, well, 2 on a litter, guys everywhere. I stepped on my buddy's wounded bullet hole leg,
Yeah. It's not pretty, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting time. Very surreal, that flight out of there. Yeah. But I finally got.
At what point did you decide that you weren't going to die because of that rumor that you didn't hear the blast?
When I was on the aircraft.
Okay.
Yeah, it was so surreal. Seeing the world fly by.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah.
Wow. So how bad were your injuries then? You ended up in Germany and then back in the States? Okay.
Nope, stayed in launch stool.
Okay.
Out of the 10 of us that were wounded, 7 got medevaced. Me and my buddy were the only ones ambulatory.
Okay.
But I was the least. Most of my stuff was superficial. Okay. I had a tourniquet on. Okay. And that killed my arm for a good 3 months, unfortunately. Smokes. And then the tympanic membrane blown out. But I went to launch stool, and I was the only one of them who was outpatient.
Really?
Yeah, I did not like that. I didn't know
they did that.
No,
so you were kind of all alone.
Indeed.
Wow.
Indeed.
How's the outpatient set up?
This
little apartment or something? Or?
No, this is 07.
Okay.
Pre-Warrior Transition Unit.
Right.
We went back to Kleber Kaserne.
Okay.
And you're sleeping in these bays with a bunch of other dudes that I broke my hand. Oh, I ripped my hand open. They were pink bellying me for my birthday. Like no other combat injury guys.
Yeah.
And I had just been through some serious stuff.
Yeah.
So I was laying there, and my the silence was deafening. It was super loud in my ear. And I tried to like go sit in the day room, and some sergeant's like, "You better go to sleep." I'm like, couldn't even explain to her. So they got much better at taking care of wounded guys.
Wow.
But I would pull in a chair into my buddies' rooms, and I would just stay there as long as I could.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably all you wanted to do was just be with those guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They all make it out.
Yes. Everybody who was medevaced, yes. We lost Jake Lowell, got shot in the heart a few times after he got back up into the gun, after he got shot the first time.
Holy shit.
And then we lost our Terp. So,
Damn.
But everybody else still alive today. Talk to them once a year at least.
Yeah, no doubt. This is 15 years ago. So how did the Army at that time frame in these early days deal with some of the, traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, and those types of things? Because it's much different today than what it was back then, right?
Well, I think it is. I think I was right there in that sweet spot, though. 07. We'd been in Afghanistan for 6 years by that time.
Right.
Iraq for a few as well. So I think it was getting a lot better. I saw the transitions. The Warrior Transition Unit that they created, like back then in 07, 100% wounded guys. I mean, it was like they took care of you too. They'd keep you employed, but they'd make sure you get everything you need.
Yeah.
I did have TBI. I hear it nowadays used as he's got a TBI. I was like, that's not how I remember it. But yeah, and this is before they were like, they had sensors in your helmet and stuff.
Yeah.
But they just told you to do puzzles.
Yeah.
And PTSD, they were working hard on PTSD back then. They were working hard on it. And I think I told you earlier I wanted to speak about
Yeah.
my
You get a little
thought.
bit of different perspective on PTSD.
I do. Well, a little bit. I mean, what leads you up to that moment? Definitely is 50% of what it is. But I watched like my guys who were in that room together. I mean, it was 3 in this room, 3 in the other room, and then me. And we talked about it. We talked about what happened. So many what if, like if I would have just checked the draw, if this and that. But we talked about it daily. And I think that one of the best ways to beat PTSD is to instantly talk about it as much as you can with the guys you experienced the traumatic event with. And that's also like, car crash, abusive relationships, like that, in my opinion, my experience, the guys that were in that room did a lot better than the guys that got shipped to the States almost immediately.
Really?
Yeah. And I have no nightmares, no nothing. Sleep peacefully.
Sounds like we got a 5-ton or something going, buddy.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. And I guess they don't apply that in any way now.
I'm not sure. I hope they do.
Yeah, because how much have they recognized how beneficial that is? I know they have group therapy, but it's normally not with the same guys.
And I'm speaking a little outside of my area of expertise, but I think that there are so many options out there when it comes to conventional behavioral health, and talk therapy and stuff. And their methods are research. That's why they're doing them. And that doesn't, so one may hold more weight than the other, or maybe that technique just doesn't have as much literature supporting it or whatever it may be, but it's, it's a big ship, right? The mental health ship, because, we've got all these decades of, innovating this discipline, and, the things that have worked for so long, like they may be outdated, but they've been working sort of, so they keep using them. It's kind of like the Army, I think, just slow to change maybe.
Yeah.
But I do think that, I haven't really had that experience where something bad's happened and then I've had an opportunity to talk about it with my boys over and over again. Not an event that I was directly in, but helicopter crashes with an adjacent platoon or something, and your buddy's on there, and so you talk about it a lot for the whole deployment. But I will say this: I know that I wouldn't have the expertise to know the mechanism, but the isolation, I mean, that's got to be devastating. Man.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely devastating to be hurt and alone and surrounded by people that you don't.
And his hearing's lost, so that means you're listening to either a noise or silence, but either way, it's not the noise you should be hearing, or, you know, people walking by and everything. And you're inside your head that much more, yeah.
Did did they do that? Anything for that? Like a?
Oh yeah. I don't want to get down a big rabbit hole on this one, but when I came back, they found out I had a recurrence of cancer.
What the?
So I had to go through chemotherapy, get rid of that, and then less than a year later, they fixed my ear. They pulled my ear forward, grafted me a new eardrum. Works like a charm.
Holy shit!
So wait, you know,
yeah.
We're like in here with the indestructible man.
oh yeah, I mean,
I bleed. Trust me.
yeah. So I mean, so you go in there. Do they conduct any X-rays or anything at that moment?
No.
So in other words, they didn't catch it in the very beginning in any way, or
No, I had
No
I had
MRI?
I had testicular cancer when I was 19.
okay.
And they cut it out. I was like, "Oh, you look great." No, my tumor markers were chill. I mean, everything was looking great. Deployed, and I came back. And I was like, "Doc, something feels right." I had I think it's called gynecomastia. Yeah. And I wasn't doing anything that causes gynecomastia. You know?
Right.
Anyway, and they ran some tests. They ran tumor marker tests, and my tumor markers were 11,000.
What should they be?
Yeah, what's
good?
Zero.
Zero is good.
An HCG tumor marker test is a pregnancy test. So
What?
I've gotten plenty of looks from the guy behind the counter at the pharmacy, like, "What the heck?"
Really?
Yeah, they test HCG. A woman's body produces it when she's pregnant. So
Okay.
and a man's body's producing it. It's not good, right?
Okay.
And I'm not a doctor, so
Yeah.
there's other stuff behind that. But so they tested me. It was 11,000. Came
And
back.
it's supposed to be zero.
Supposed to be zero. They came back a week later, or 3 weeks later. It was 66,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was.
That's
up
really
there.
bad, right?
It is. Lance Armstrong's. I can't remember from this book. Not about the bike. His was like 120,000.
Wow.
So mine had sextupled in less than a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So they started chemo. She's like, "We're starting chemo tomorrow."
Wow.
So, and I had just been able to snap my fingers again from having that tourniquet on.
Man.
I lost them. So
Did you have to? Yeah. So you had to go full physical
Occupational
therapy.
therapy.
Yeah. Occupational. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
yeah. So I always look at that as a big miracle in disguise.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you wouldn't have been at least held there, you wouldn't have been going through that. Then they wouldn't have discovered it maybe early on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get blown up.
So
You have cancer.
all right. So you're on your third life now. And how many do you have?
Yeah, that is it.
I feel if we talk to you long enough, we might find out you're on your fourth or fifth.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So you went back to 173rd, I'm assuming, right?
Indeed. So the WTU, they were smart about that. They had set up a company that had a detachment in Vicenza. So all those boys, like, if you've seen the movie, oh my goodness, I can't remember.
I found this on the web.
Sorry, Siri. Restrepo. So all those Restrepo boys in
Yes.
BCO 2503, like,
Yeah.
we were there together. All those dudes I was in the 170, or I was in the WT with, and we were on Ederle in Vicenza together, and we were just all working for an RTD, most of us. So yeah, I was in Vicenza when I finally got that RTD, return to duty. I went right. They re-arrived me back in Vicenza, which gave me another 3 years there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's great.
A full reset. That's cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
So you didn't have to worry about re-enlisting or anything, but you did have the option if you wanted to stay if you re-enlisted.
Oh, I mean, I had. I can't remember how much time I had on my contract at that time. I think I did have to re-enlist, but they just, instead of PCSing, I got to stay in Italy for another few. And they absolutely, they wanted to move me through chemo. They wanted to move me to America, and I did not want to go. I wanted to be in the 173rd. All my buddies were there.
Yeah.
Maybe my buddy Andy Carlson we got wounded together, and we were each other's non-medical attendants going back and forth to Germany. So
Nice.
I didn't want to leave anywhere. That was where I was going to get the healing I really needed.
Right.
So
Had you met your wife at that point as well?
right after I met her family already, but right after chemo is when I met my wife. No eyebrows, no hair, no nothing.
So she saw you totally in your worst.
Oh yeah.
Was she your nurse?
No, she wasn't. She
Okay.
wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah. So,
Nice work. Strong moves.
yeah,
Strong moves.
I had something going for me then.
where'd you go after the 173rd then?
The 173rd. After my second deployment with them, I went back to Fort Benning.
Okay.
I was an instructor. We just had our first kid. My wife was tired of me being gone, so I decided let's take a little break. Went to Fort Benning. I was a black hat for a little bit. Had an interesting
Airborne school.
Oh yeah, had an interesting job right in the middle, driving for a general, which turned out to be a lot of fun.
Really?
Oh yeah, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Made a very good friend with I think Major
Okay.
James Barker. Shout out to him.
Nice.
He was the aide, and then I went back to the 507th, and I was a Pathfinder instructor.
Okay. So, E6 when you came to airborne school?
I was about to be an E6. I was
Okay.
in 5P.
Yeah.
Trying to make points.
And then you went Pathfinder, which meant you got to stay at Benning for just a little bit longer.
Yes, I finished out about a year there.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
When did you go to Ranger School then? 173rd or when you got back?
No, actually, at the end of my year driving for that general, he's like, Bryant, I want you back on the line with a Ranger tab ASAP.
Nice.
So when I was done with him, right before I went Pathfinder, I went to Ranger School.
Yeah, see, the beauty again of being, I'm telling you, being at Benning has its perks. I mean,
Absolutely.
there are negative aspects, but Benning has its perks if you want to get the trinkets and go to the great schools.
Indeed.
So, yeah. So you went to Ranger School first time through?
I went straight through Darby, straight through mountains, straight through Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
Paul relates.
Nice. Nice.
Right here.
Bringing that up.
Right here I recycled.
Oh my God!
Same
So
here, man.
when you went through that, then that would put you at about 2008-9 time frame.
No, that was 2013. It was a lot later.
Okay.
I went through Ranger School as a staff sergeant later in my career.
So you would have been how old at that time frame then?
Oh, 28?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, 28.
See, there's a theme here. I mean, again, we've talked about it in earlier episodes, but it seems like if you come through a little bit older through Ranger School, your mind's right. You're
Yeah.
It
definitely was not the hardest thing I'd ever done. And I relate that to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody listening, just remember there's 150 or so people that graduate Ranger School every month. The hardest part is getting here.
Yeah.
Just get here and do it.
Well, and I've heard a lot of folks, what they basically say is just don't quit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't check out. Don't self-select. Just stay in. Type of thing. Stay in the fight.
MRE to MRE. Just do it.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. MRE to MRE. Most of the time, it's telephone pole to telephone pole. As you're walking.
Well, it's funny you said that because I'm like, man, I can picture myself taking a knee in Florida and like grazing, and I'm like, I just got to walk a little bit more, and I can do this again.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I would go to my happy place.
Yeah.
And we would get a meal and throw my poncho over me and just eat it. And I was happy. I was the hungry ranger, not the tired ranger.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was sleepy ranger. I walked out of Florida. I think I had 2 MREs. Yeah. But pro tip, I don't know if they still make the cheese and veggie omelet. It has the most calories, and nobody wants it, and you can get it for like a pound cake. You'd be like, here's a main meal and a pound cake, and now you've got 1.5 MREs. And if you trade the spaghetti and meatballs MREs is like 860 calories. It's like 1,400 in the cheese and veggie omelet. You're doubling your money if you can get that Dr. Seuss waffle down your neck.
You count calories in this school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very, very, very smart.
Rid yourself of the tuna. Do not take the tuna.
That was the worst one. That's like 600 calories.
Yeah, I mean, real stomach cramp I ever had in my life. Felt like a dagger going in my stomach. I had a friggin' tuna for my morning meal. Don't.
Gross, man. Yeah. No, that tuna meal was trash.
So when you end up leaving here, you go back to Ranger School. You go back to Pathfinder School.
Yes. Yeah. I went back to Airborne for a little while, and then took Pathfinder for about a year.
Okay. Oh, so it was in between. I'm sorry.
Yes,
I
sir.
was thinking it went and you tracked on.
No,
You
that
call me
entire-
sir again, but that's right.
Yeah, man.
It tracks on. So I was thinking it was airborne Pathfinder. Then they told you to go to Ranger School, not the in between.
No, no, my 3 years of Benning at that time, airborne, general, ranger, airborne for a little bit, and then Pathfinder.
Okay. Where'd you go after Pathfinder?
Back to the 173rd.
Oh, did you really? How'd you
yeah.
hook that up?
Oh, back then it was easy.
Yeah.
I worked for a general. He helped me out.
Right.
So, and I loved the 173rd.
Yeah.
I mean, great unit, great unit, and great history.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys made a lot more in Afghanistan. Y'all did a lot.
That was our playground for a while. I
Yeah.
think 14 they stopped going.
Is that right?
Yeah. When they came back from the 13 deployment,
That
they
makes
called
sense.
it quits.
That makes sense.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow. Okay.
Well, we were drawn down in 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, we drew down, and a lot of guys stopped going.
Okay. So is that what that is?
Yeah.
So we're going to hear the backup beeping here in just a second.
Is that door closed all the way, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, no big deal. It's, these thin walls, they have.
We did an episode with me getting shot at in Panama, so it's not a big deal.
We didn't put the
That's
proper
fine. That's
request
fireworks.
into 5th Regiment. 5th Ranger Training Battalion about having solid walls and soundproof rooms and the whole bit. Next time we'll make sure we can queue it up.
Yeah.
Best spot's the raid site out there.
Really?
Just be in the woods. You'll be fine. No vehicles.
I like it.
We can do that. So the only problem is we won't have any power. That's we have to get a generator and bury it.
We got plenty of generators.
Yeah, there you go. See, now we're hooked up. So after, or you went back to 173rd and stuff. How long did you end up spending this route?
Another 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10 altogether now.
Wow.
I was there. I got there, took a squad, and came down the E7 months pretty fast. They gave me a platoon pretty much right when I made the list, and or platoon sergeant. And platoon sergeant time was by far the pinnacle of my career. It was so fun. I took an infantry platoon for about a year and a half, I think it was, and then they moved me to the Recon platoon and for another year.
Nice.
Had a blast.
Wow. That's awesome.
We didn't deploy to any. We went to Turkey for 3 months, operational deployment.
Yeah.
Didn't get any combat deployments as a platoon sergeant, but just is what it is.
So on the people are going to be listening to this, and they're going to go, Robert, you didn't dive deep enough into the recon piece of it. Talk a little bit about that experience.
So, as you may know, every infantry battalion usually has a reconnaissance platoon. And my first sergeant, the HHC first sergeant usually gets to ask for who he wants. He picked me. Paparella, he used to be an RI here.
Yeah. Yeah. He was in the sniper section at 375.
There are hundreds of people with a Ranger tab on their sleeve right now that are terrified when I say Paparella.
They should be. He's an animal.
But he was
Good
in regiment, and he was a sniper as like an old man while he was waiting.
Yeah.
So he turned the recon platoon into the sniper platoon in the first of the 503rd. So it was great. I did not have any reconnaissance experience, so I was a little worried about taking the job, but I just ran it like I'm here to feed them, get them what they need, get them where they need to go, get them in schools, and it was a lot of fun for a year. Since we had stopped deploying, it was training rotation, and sniper comps all over Europe. Yeah.
Very cool.
2 weeks in
You guys
Ireland.
did pretty well in those sniper comps, your boys.
The ones that were televised, maybe. But, we were in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
We were shooting against Russians, like the Alpha, Russian Alpha anti-terrorism unit, the Belarusian anti-terrorism unit, Israelis. We were against some really good dudes. So.
Well, and that's a different. If you don't know a lot about snipers, you think they're all created equal. But you take a police sniper and you take a military sniper, or you take a high-level counter-terror sniper like these guys, and they're going to have to shoot around hostages and in civilians and things like that. And the military sniper, call it skill level 1 sniper, I guess. you got to put a bullet in a guy and slow him down so you can shoot him again, or so your machine gun can get on him, or so your indirect can get on him. You know, it's completely different. Still a precision game, but you know, whereas I'm going to be much, much faster than a police sniper. Like, I don't have to kill you with one shot, and I don't really want to, you know, because you can feel mine, and then you can feel the rest of the platoons while you're laying there trying to crawl away. And that's how I felt about it. But these guys, I mean, I've shot against like SWAT snipers, stuff like that, and the precision, man, because they're like, all right, I got to be left eyeball all day, not somewhere in that headshot, left eyeball, because the right eyeball is covered by a hostage or what have you. So
one of my snipers, one of the events, they had this mask that was like it was made by some pretty thick material, and they hung a little tiny balloon on it, and that was the terrorist behind the hostage.
Wow.
And my sniper just blew his face off. I wanted to get it as a PCS present, you know.
Oh, that would have been great.
It's like, this isn't our competition, guys.
Yeah. No. Wow. Well, it's not. I don't even think the equipment is really comparable.
Yeah. Everybody's shooting 338. Everybody's shooting 338 Lapua.
Yeah.
I mean, flat.
All bolt guns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
600 meter moving. The guys with 338 didn't even have to lead the target. Just shoot, just flat. I mean, it was up against giants.
You can't compete 338 versus you guys were shooting 308.
We had a 308 gun and a 300 Win Mag gun, but still,
the Win Mag gets you a little closer, I guess, in the intermediate. But
my better sniper was on the oh my gosh, I can't remember. It was on 308. Yeah.
Did you end up going through sniper school there then?
I didn't. My first sergeant wanted me to go because we had sniper school, and then we had ISTC does a sniper school. I think that's 10th group in Germany. And then they have urban sniper, like really great courses. Cool. I had all these guys though who were non-sniper qualified. I'm like, I'm here for a year, so I didn't want to take one of their slots. I would love it, but what's Bravo 4 going to do for me as a sergeant first class?
Yeah, right.
But I learned a lot from them boys.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I bet you did. Did you end up coming here directly after that?
I did.
Did you ask for here?
That gets a little dark. I mean, it gets. I did ask for 6th.
Okay.
My brother-in-law and his wife were at 6th. I loved the place. I mean, it was beautiful. I asked for 6th, and I don't even want to say this, but
you don't have to.
Well, the guy who was supposed to put me on orders for 5th passed away.
Oh shoot!
And I got, 6th, and I got 5th instead. Gotcha. But thank God. I love 5th RTB. I love it. I could talk for 10 minutes about it.
Well, and that's exactly where we'll go next.
Yeah.
So when you got here, what was your expectation? I mean, you went through the program, but it's a little bit different. Now you're coming on the other side, right? You're coming on the dark side.
I mean, of course, I go to the one place where I recycled.
That's true. I didn't think about that, right?
I was worried about the school system.
Maybe you'll get it right this time, Thomas.
I mean, I've done 34 cycles now.
Wow.
34 plus the 2 I did first time. But I was worried about everything. School systems, just being in Georgia again. But 5th RTB, this is the walk phase. So Darby, we're trying different things right now, but Darby is still where you learn your squad tactics. And that's what really makes Ranger School a school for everybody. It's not just a school for the eye-bullet kid.
Yes.
You have PV2s coming to this course, right? So they do squad tactics in Darby, and then they get here, and it's crawl, walk, run, but you're drinking from a fire hose on platoon operations.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's stuff I learned when I got back here. I was like, I don't even remember that from the first time, whether I was sleeping or falling asleep, I should say. But I had expectations that this would be the toughest one to work at because you're walking the mountains, but I love it. I absolutely love it. You make such an impact on these guys here because, 6th, you're running. They're a little more hands-off on you. So I was when I got here, I was on the 20 team, which is the mountaineering team, and then I was the 20 team platoon sergeant. So I had a lot of time with the guys. Got to teach them a lot. I love it.
We happen to go down there today and do the knots. Do the learning about the knots, and I have to admit, they complimented us at the end of it and said that we were probably some of the better Ranger students and stuff. But
They said you did better than the average Ranger student.
yeah, which is quite surprising.
Did way better than the average Ranger student.
You could have stopped right there, right? But you had to go there. So anyway, it's a bit eye-opening. I mean, and they tell us that, through this thing when we were going through the training and learning, and of course we had the time, went through the timing stations and stuff. And you see just how much you have to take in on a lower calorie diet, less sleep, so you're at your worst state, not your peak. And I'd like to think that we were relatively peak because it was 10 o'clock, in the morning, something
I feel
like that.
I'm in my prime.
We, gosh. The only, we'd ate breakfast and the whole bed. So at least we had we were,
bed.
yeah, we were right. Exactly. We were all the way there and stuff. And so, it's a little bit different when you get here and you go through that course and all the stuff that you're having to take in.
It is a little bit different. Because when you get here, you just came out of the FTX in Darby. And believe it or not, I mean, Darby, I hated Darby the most. I didn't realize.
Agree with that.
I didn't realize
100%.
I was actually droning in Darby. I mean, it's rough.
Oh, yeah.
But when you get here, for the first 4 days, you're getting at least, maybe 4 hours of sleep a night. I can't speak. That's on the company, right? So 4 to 6 hours of sleep at night. You're eating 3 hots. 2 hots and then an MRE. So you're doing better than you were a week ago in Darby. But the first 4 days of mountains is the most fun you're going to have. The only fun you're going to have in Ranger School. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially guys who don't climb. I mean, you're climbing, you're rappelling. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I can attest to that. Just this, having not gone through this course, and then experiencing it for the first time frame for me, getting the knots training, doing the tower. We didn't get a chance to go over to the wall and everything, the cliff and everything. Yeah. We were running out of time and stuff, but I think it's so cool that what you're describing. People who are going through the course are absolutely going to have a blast. And take it in that way. I know it's the course. I know you're in school and everything, but if you pay attention to the RIs who are, consummate professionals and everything that they're describing and everything else, you feel very confident about what you're about ready to undertake. And you guys are right there along the way and, and kind of guiding these guys through this and stuff. And so, yeah, it's a great experience. And, but I can also see, because of how tough it is, why people recycle here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the Army can take the fun out of it. You're rappelling off a 60-foot cliff and you have your rifle on your back with your ruck on top of that. It's like just digging in.
Yeah.
Of course, they can make it not fun. But yeah, recycling, I mean, you have to pass your patrols. And sometimes, from my experience, it's really hard to get 50 dudes to do what you want them to do. And you'll get 3 shots, but
yeah,
I got it on my 4th. My 4th patrol. And then you got peers, and then,
Yeah.
There's just so much that can go wrong.
Indeed.
And I think that, I think you go, at least this is kind of how I remembered it, but I kind of went from like feeling pretty okay at the beginning of this, but obviously, pretty taxed from Darby. And then like we got into the patrols and it was like, I got no gas in the tank. And I'm trying to think how it worked. I got pulled out of the first field problem on day 1. Like we did the very first patrol and they're like, you got to go. And I jumped in the truck and I'd been in the field for all of like 12 hours. I get in the truck and I'm like talking to the RIs. I'm like, this truck fucking stinks, man. Like, man, they can't get you guys a better truck, or like, what happened in here? Because it was just like old roadkill in the sun.
I thought you were smelling yourself.
Yeah, I was.
Oh.
I was. Because it smells like ammonia. Your muscles break down. And this is like you said. I'm getting 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep. Not consistently, but I'm getting okay sleep, and the work's not that hard. and I'm getting good meals, and I'm doing his mountaineering stuff. But at the end of it, and you do Mount Yona, and then you're in the field, it's like your reserves are 0. And I'm like, holy smokes. And then I spent 10 days here eating blueberry pancakes and playing basketball with the RIs.
Overhang.
I didn't go to the overhang. We weren't allowed to. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
I was.
It's strictly dry, and you can go here and to your detail, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I felt fucking great. I felt great, man. And then when the next cycle started, all my buddies that were in Derby phase, they're coming in like POWs.
Yep. You got a belly.
Yeah, I got a belly on it. My friend James Morrow, who probably has made the most attempts at Ranger School ever and not passed. And it's been a long time. So James, if I got this wrong, forgive me. But I think he did 4 or 5 attempts. Although my memory says 6, but that's probably an exaggeration.
Full recycles or like just
attempts? That's not recycles. That's attempts. There were times he would go to Derby, recycle, pass the second time. Go to mountains, recycle, pass the second time. I think he's been to Florida more than once, but I know he's been there.
Iron Well.
Recycled day 1. Like if it's bad and it can happen to you in Ranger School, it happened to James Morrow.
Did he get his?
No. Finally, I don't know if they stopped sending him because he's tough, man. He just kept going. But this is like his 2nd or 3rd attempt. He's just done Derby phase for like the 3rd time this summer, I think. I could be wrong. And he comes walking from wherever he's coming from, and he's holding his helmet up. And I'm like, hey, Morrow, is that you? And he's got his head down. And he's like, oh, what's up, man? And I'm like, what are you doing with your helmet, bro? He's like, oh, I can't hold my head up my next 2 week. Yeah. It's just my next 2 week now. I can't hold my head up. He wasn't lying. And I'm like, holy shit, you're not going to make it, buddy.
We've tied helmets to rucks before.
Oh my gosh.
Get the rubbernecking.
Yeah. No, this was like fresh off the bus, day 1 here. Like it wasn't like he was coming out of the field or nothing. That was his natural state at that point. Rough, man.
I wanted to add something. The smell is real. The smell is absolutely. Go smell a dryer right now. It is real. Really? But the worst is middle summer air assault mission. Pack 10 Ranger students on there and then shut the doors. I mean, they have to leave the doors open overnight. It is so
really
powerful. Yeah, it'll make your eyes water. That RI sitting in there, it's like rough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't realize it.
No, you don't. I mean, you can't smell yourself dying.
And you're yeah, that's actually very apt. You guys, when you're like out in the woods and like if you walk away from a patrol base or something, you can smell your way back, can't you?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're downwind, you can smell the slit trench.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the slit trench and all the stank ass Rangers. Oh
yeah.
That was. Yeah, I don't know.
How long have you been here now?
I just hit 3 years.
Okay.
A couple months ago.
What's the next then?
Well, today I finished my 19th year in the Army.
19.
Well, yeah.
Congratulations.
So I'm at 19 now, and I got 1 year left.
Wow. So you're going to ride it here?
I am.
Nice.
Smart man.
Retire out of here.
Which is great because now this is the homestead. You've got everything set up and just be able to just walk out the door and start the next chapter.
Indeed. If the wife goes for it, yeah. Remember, she's Italian.
Yeah.
To not go back to Italy.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's a rough thing to have to do that, though.
I'd rather be an American stationed in Italy than live in Italy as an Italian.
Yeah.
Not getting political or anything, but you got perks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I mean, I bought a house here in 19. Think of that, 19 before the explosion.
Yes.
Nice.
So,
smart man.
You're in a good position.
Yeah, I mean, great schools. Dawsonville, great school system. You got UNG. My kids can go to college here.
Yeah.
Not a bad place.
And that's one of the things that we did want to highlight about this assignment, because this type of episode is not just necessarily in the things that we're talking about while we're here, is not just for people who are going through the school and causing post-traumatic stress for those who've been through, but also, really also recruiting RIs, get the best of the best to want to come here and replace you,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, great place. Everybody wants Florida, but just a couple things. I'm like, great school systems here, great land value, the highest BAH of all, let's just be real, like the highest BAH of all the RTBs.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Well, no hurricanes, no tornadoes, no flooding. I guess you get flash floods in the canyons if it rains real bad.
You got to worry a little bit about the icing and stuff, because you know if you got some. I mean, where we're staying at is like the driveway. We go up and then we'll go down and then around, then we'll go back up a hill, and it's in a neighborhood that's like literally carved into the side of a mountain.
Oh, cool.
And so it's great for that reason. But then when I'm thinking, holy cow, man, if I were trying to leave here with ice on the.
Yeah, but you're from Florida and you don't know how to drive.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
you don't think icy. I mean, I think of the apocalypse snowstorm that hit Atlanta in like 2015.
I was here, yeah.
They take care of you. Dawsonville, Dahlonega, they salt the roads before it even happens.
Wow, nice.
Never had a problem. Never had a problem.
That is awesome.
See, just another great perk.
Well, the other cool thing that I didn't know until after I graduated this course, excuse me, the southern terminus of the Appalachian Trail is like, 10 miles, 5 miles from here.
Springer Mountain.
Springer Mountain.
Parking lot.
So actually our next guest that will probably be following your show is someone who is a former ranger that just walked the Appalachian Trail and he's ending up
he did
here.
complete
And
it.
that's
Wow.
correct.
Wow. He went,
I guess north to south.
south. Okay.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. But so he was like, actually I'll be in the AO, type of thing. But a great area like you're talking about. It's in the mountains. A lot of outdoor stuff that you can do and stuff. You're really close to Tennessee border, and being able to do a lot of stuff up there. People come up here on vacation. You got the Oconee River if you want to do some whitewater rafting. Lanier, Great Lake,
great
and
trout fishing,
Atlanta.
fly fishing.
Yeah, Atlanta with the Braves, of course. So what's not to love? So I think that you're right. A lot of people probably don't think of this assignment as being one of the better ones for our eyes. But I can tell you again, I can't stress enough the great professionals that we met while here. And it speaks volumes. You guys have a really close-knit family.
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, no Ranger student will say mountains was his favorite, so nobody wants to come back here. But they're lucky if they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really are. I agree. I thought that when I went through the course too. I'm like, this is the military. I could do this and then work here.
Camp Frank Merrill, there are people that live downtown that don't know about this place.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And when I say I work at the ranger camp, they think I'm a park ranger, like a forest ranger.
Yeah.
There's some beauty in that.
Yeah.
Just need to whip out your Smokey the Bear hat and you'll be good.
Well, all of my neighbors are civilians. Yeah, they think I'm some special forces guy.
Yeah.
Ranger instructor.
Yep, that's awesome. Let them think of it.
No, I can totally relate to that. As a matter of fact, when Fort Mac was here, they had the housing department you had to go check into, and they'd lay out the map and they go, well, so we have military that's over here and military that's over here, and I go, God, I'm so glad you laid that out. That's exactly where I don't want to live.
Exactly.
I'm going to go right here, right where you didn't point. But there's something to be said about that, where you get a chance to integrate, your kids get a chance to go to school and stuff. I mean, there's good sides, and there's good both sides of it and stuff. But certainly for you, this is your last leg. I'm sure your kids are loving that, that not having to worry about travel as much.
Yeah.
And,
Stabilization.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
It's important, especially when they start getting of age of middle school and high school and stuff like
teenager.
that. There you go.
It's a big deal.
It's huge. Yeah. Thomas, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. This has been
pleasure.
tremendous, and sharing your journey and how you got here and why you're here. And I wish you nothing but the best, man, as you walk out the door and start the new chapter.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. All ours.